Hi, good day, and I'm Shanine Emirabel, and our group we're going to present the login application recording program. And here are the group members: Chini Rose Barunja, Mark Chester Capuno, Venish De Gallado, Romar Lege, John Hilaresto, Dom Grande, Michael Tumala, and Noel Pepito. So let's proceed to the program. The JTable as well as login, new record, update, and exit button may all be found in the mainframe. As you notice, the login and exit buttons are the only two buttons that are enabled. So for you to use the other button, you must first log in. When the user clicks the login button, a new frame will appear that contains a text field for username and a password field for password. The login button on the mainframe will be disabled along with the exit button to prevent the user from exiting the program during operation. The login frame has a boolean is successful, which is set to false by default and will be used to determine if the user successfully logged in. The user must enter the correct credentials, and for this project, username, admin, and password, admin, is used. And this presentation will going to continue by Mr. Loresta and Mr. Lege.
In general manner, I'm going to explain regular expression that we use for the logging requirement. So, the regular expression for both username and password is string admin, and is compiled to a pattern instead of 5 method of pattern class. The matcher class will match the input entered by the user using the assigned pattern. To determine if pattern and the entered input are matched, we use the if else statement and place the matcher class find method for both credentials as the condition.
Hello, my name is Johnny Loresto from 1ITV. Today, I will continue discussing about login application and recording program. If the user entered the correct credential and click the login button of the login frame is successful, Boolean will be set true and a new record, update record, delete record, and exit button will be enabled. The frame for the login will also determine using the pause method, and a message dialog will be appear informing the user that is successful login. If the user entered the wrong credential, however, and click the login button of the login frame is successful, Boolean will be stay false and the program will be prevent the user from login. A message dialog will be instead appear informing user that entered information incorrect. Thank you.
So after pressing the new record button, a different frame will appear and the boolean is new will become true. The new frame contains different components from which the user will input the necessary data to create a record. After successfully placing all the required information and pressing the confirm button, the following code will run where the program will get all the data that user inputted and place it on the table in the mainframe. If we want to get the raw data equals new object, to start, we create an array of object with a name raw data that is able to hold 8 objects. This is the variable that we are going to use to store all the data that we are going to get from the user. So if we want to get the raw data index 0 label id that get text, for the index 0 we are going to get the user id that is automatically generated by the program. The way we do this by using the getText method on the label id and then assign it as the index 0 of the raw data array. So if we want to get the raw data index 1 text first name that get text, for the index 1 we are going to get the first name of the user. To do this, we apply the getText method to that text first name and assign it as the index 1 of the raw data array. So if we want to get the raw data number 2 or index 2 text last name that get text, for the index 2 we are going to get the last name of the user To do this, we apply the getText method to the text last name and assign it as index 2 of the raw data array. So the last is if we want to get the raw data index 3 text middle name that get text. For the index 3, we are going to get the middle name of the user. To do this, we apply the getText method to the text middle name and assign it as the index 3 of the raw data array. So that's all. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Noveljan Pepito continuing to discuss our program. For the index 4 of raw data, we are going to get the date of birth of the user. Researching about date picker controls led us to import an external jar file that includes a date user component that we'll be using for our program. In the source code, we'll create a simple date format and name it SDF. We'll then apply the getDate method to the date user and set it as the parameters of the format method that will apply to our simple date format, and then finally assigning it as the index 4 of raw data. For the index 5 of raw data, we will calculate the age of the user by using the user's date of birth as our reference. To start, we are going to type date today is equal to new date. This will give us the present date from when the user opens the program. Using the getYear method, we will subtract the user's birth year from the present year and assign this to an integer variable named as age. But this only assumes that the user had already celebrated their birthday for the present year. So we use some if statements that compares the user's birth date to the present date. If the user didn't have their birthday yet, then the value of age will decrease by 1. Finally, age will be assigned as the index 5 of raw data. For index 6, using the getSelectedItem method, we will get the item that the user selected in CBO College and assign it as the index 6 of raw data. Similarly, for index 7, we will also apply getSelectedItem method on CBO course and assign it as the index 7 of raw data. After gathering all the data in an array, we will now place it to the table model which we named as model student info so that it will show up in the table that we place in the mainframe. To do this, we access the table model by typing model.studentinfo. Next, we apply the addRow method and place the raw data as the parameters. After successfully adding the new data, the integer ID will increase by 1 to prepare for the next data that is going to be recorded. The program will then dispose the frame during operation, leaving the main frame open, and shows a dialog box that informs the user that a new record was successfully added. Lastly, using a user-defined method which we named clearControls, we return the program back to default.
I am Banish Degollado and I'm here to discuss some parts of our project. And after pressing the update button, a different frame will appear and the boolean is update will become true. The update button will be enabled if the model student impose rows counts is greater than 0. This will also enable the table in a main frame and will open the frame during operation. This will only let the user select and update the presented row data from the table. The code will start with an if statement showing that if the model student impose rows count is greater than 0, the code will proceed to enable the table in the main frame and open the frame during operation. And to begin the operation, this code sets the text of JLabel in the frame during operation name LBL title into please select a row of data from the table that you want to update. And the created array of objects with the name of row data gathers the stored data from the user. This data shows in the JTable of mainframe. Notice the difference between the new button and the update button is that the JTable is enabled for the user to select.
The other components are enabled, but when you try to make a new data, while in the update frame, it will not let you. It will display a J option pane that shows no existing data selected. Please select a row of data from the table to update. This allows the user to not create a new row of data, but to select an existing data from the table model. After clicking on existing data, it will show the information of the data and it will allow the user to edit the information given. After the user is satisfied with the editing the information, the user may select the confirm button and a message will show that says record update successfully. The program will now dispose the frame during operation, leaving the main frame open. This will also execute a user-defined method named clearControls that sets back all the important controls in the program back into its default state. The program ends with an else statement that if the number of rows is less than 0, it will show a J option pane that shows cannot edit, no existing record found. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mark Desarci Capuno and I'm with Ginny Barunja. And to explain the delete button. So how delete record button perform? In this button, we use the J button area, which is this button can delete. So the recent record, or if you have a wrong info, you can delete it. And only existing records can be deleted using this button. If the user has picked a row of data from the database, in this data, if the program will only remove existing records, and if the user has picked a data from the table, if the program asking the user if the user wants to remove in specific row or in that the existing data will remove.
Good day, Sir Janus. I'm Chineros Barunja with Marchester Capuno. We will explain the delete button. As you can see in our code, we use the remove row method. And in the inside of open and close parentheses in method, you will see here the selected row, which is the user need to select first the existing record before deleting the record in JTable. After deleting all records, the currently saved record, it will be disposed. And that's all. Thank you.
So for the last button, which is the exit button, when you press it, it will not dispose immediately because we add a dialog box where you can decide if you really want to close or dispose a program by pressing the yes button, or you will cancel it by pressing the no button. And that's the presentation of our group, and thank you for listening.